Hey everyone, this is Uthris. Welcome back to Let's Play Minecraft TerrafirmaCraft Edition. So, last episode we found kind of a nice spot to call home. And this episode I think we're going to be working on clearing some of the land and building kind of our base of operations. I don't know if it's going to be our home per se, but we will be living here for a while. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit some rocks together to make some axe heads. And hopefully this will be enough to get a decent amount of lumber for us. I'm actually only going to make... I can make more than one at a time. Usually you can save inventory space just by carrying the tool head around. So I don't really care about saplings or sticks from these, so I'm just gonna cut them at the base and harvest the lumber. And then I think for the home or shelter that we're going to build, it's going to be kind of a dug in house. So we're gonna dig in one layer of dirt, put a cobble foundation, and then cobble on top of that. And then we'll have basically an extra story without having to gather the materials for it. So let's see how long this takes me to just clear out just the whole area of trees. And then I think in this episode what we're going to start working on is ceramics. And I may not get the actual building done in one go. It might take a cut or so before I can show you the finished building, but it should be pretty nice looking, very homely. Probably a little basic. So this tree we're cutting down right here, this is hickory, I believe, and it's one of my favorite woods to build with. It's got a nice reddish hue to it. It also burns really hot in the fireplace, so that's a nice thing to know. Different tree types burn at different temperatures and length. You just kind of have to figure that out yourself as you play. And you just kind of notice when things are going out quicker than others. It's also on the wiki page, so if you are playing the series, you can search it up there as well. Just trying to gather as much lumber as possible, and we'll probably make a small storage area for them. Let's just get a stick or so. We're also going to need a fair amount of thatch. It's going to be a thatch roof building, I think, initially. And plus thatch is not immune, well, is immune to physics, so you can have floating blocks of thatch. So then again, monsters can walk through it, but they can't see through it. I don't know. We'll have to see what makes the most sense to do. But I do need a lot of thatch eventually anyway, so we're just gonna go ahead and give our front lawn here a bit of a trim. I get paid $20 an hour for doing this. Don't worry, I'm with a union. Let's see here. Okay, so this is pretty much all we have to work with. I'm gonna make a shovel, and this is the plan for a shovel. Take out both ends, kind of makes a blade. Bring in the bottom one each side for the attachment on the handle, and that will produce what we need. Let me think of where I want this building to go. It's gonna be even in length, but odd in width, I think. So we'll go 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One extra though for the what do I call it? The actual wall. So it's gonna need this much room for the foundation, and the insides are the actual room dimensions. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna have to go over one more eventually. Gonna have to gather a bunch more stone here in a second. Need to place these back. Because things have physics, I guess I can show you guys. If I place a dirt block on this, it'll just fall off. And so when you're working how I am, I'm placing this foundation and I'm going to remove the inside after it's placed. That way it feels supported without actually being supported. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do a bit of a skip here so you guys don't see me walking around too much. And it feels like I'll get actually stuff done. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, so this is the foundation. It hit nighttime before I could gather more stones for it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to work on ceramics. And you can make these log piles by holding shift and then right clicking down a piece of log. Basically, this is how you store your logs. Instead of putting them in chests, you actually make a log pile out of them. Of course, different logs have different attributes in terms of burn length and things like that. You can also use this type of thing to make a log cabin. And I think I'm going to have a layer of logs on my building eventually. But, so for ceramics, I'll stop talking about logs for now, I guess. It's pretty much the same thing as knapping, the hitting of stones together. You get the same menu when you right click 2 or 5. I forget how much clay it uses, but it brings up this screen, and we're drawing a mold of something that needs to be poured inside of here. And so I believe you do the negative. I could be wrong about this. I think I'm completely wrong. Yeah. Maybe you still do the positive shape. This might take me a second. I might even have to look at the wiki. I really don't want to. Okay, so this shape, this will make a clay jug. And that's what you use to hold water. I need to make a vessel, which is a small storage container, basically. And you can also use it to hold your, well, you put, how do I want to explain this? You put your raw ore in there and then run it through the ceramic kiln again, and you get molten metal using this method. It only works with like the softer metals. And then you can pour that into a mold, and the mold looks something like this, and you get 2 of them. And so basically, to make a kiln, you're going to dig 1 down, and you're going to use shift and right click to place these into it. And once that is done, you're going to put a layer of straw, and you're basically just going to hold right click until it stops. I think it's about 8 straw. And then you also need logs on top of that, of course, to burn. And you just right click these on there, like so. And then to light it all, you just hit it with your fire starter and it'll start burning. I know it's not like really how kilns work, but whatever. I mean, it's a better system, I think, than just putting 3 rocks together on top of a stick to get a pickaxe, you know. So that's a basic pit kiln, and it'll probably be done by in the next day's evening, and then we'll be able to take the stuff out of it and actually use them. And since it's nighttime, not much is going to get done. I'm going to go ahead and skip to where this is built up a little bit more, and I'll be back. Okay, everyone, we're kind of coming back to a new morning in this series. The house is being built. That's about as best as I can sum this up. It's going really slow. Mainly just due to resource constraints and how long it takes to get resources at the moment. But I have this kind of nice dug in hovel at the moment. No windows because I'm waiting for the outside to get finished before I worry about them, but the placeholder is here, so you can see we'll have a couple windows. Our kiln finished the other night, and I went ahead and collected what we had. We have 2 molds for when we start doing some metalworking, and then our vessel. So the vessel is a 2x2 basically chest. You can actually fill these up and carry them with you, and they hold small items, I think up to small. I don't think you can put anything in there any bigger. That doesn't have any size because it's kind of useless. Yeah, that doesn't go in there. That can go in there. Tools can go in there. At least small tools. So axes are large. They can't go in here. Eventually you'll be able to get an item rack and actually hang up your tools yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and store pretty much all the raw elements that we've gathered so far. And then also I went ahead and started up the kiln again, and actually just finished. And we have a large vessel now. And this, I'll go ahead and put it on the ground, is a 3x3 storage area. It takes up a whole block, and I believe can hold bigger things, but I mean just more stuff in general. You can also store liquid in it. If you leave it open and it rains, it'll collect water for you, so you basically have water storage. Barrels will do the same thing once we get to woodworking. So what you can do though as well is I'll go ahead and put some things in here that I don't really care about as a test. Seal it up, and that puts the lid on it. Okay, first off, that's cool that it has 2 models like that, but I can break it like so, and now I'll get this thing called overburdened, and I can't move while I'm holding this thing because it's heavy, it's full of stuff. But what I can do is put it on my back, and I think I can switch camera angles, and there it is. It's on my back. I'm carrying it on my back. I think I'm a little bit slower because of it, but basically I can go gather, fill this thing up on my back, bring it back to base, equip it, plop it back down, and unseal it, and basically use it again. So this is kind of like the early stages of mass storage, and you'll be able to carry these with you. You can carry barrels with you as well once that is done. If we were really far away from the water source, you can carry barrels, fill them up full of water, carry them back to your house so you have water storage. It's kind of the nice thing about that. So this is going to be a dirt covered hovel. As you can see, we have grass slowly growing up the sides, and once we have some more dirt, it'll actually look a lot better. We'll have this nice green kind of crafted hill, and I'm just basically chipping away at certain areas to get my grass. I don't want to just make a giant pit. It can make your world look ugly, and I'm a little bit anal in that sense. If I was building a quarry, yeah, I would strip mine. I wouldn't care. I'm going to go ahead and place some dirt near where these windows go, because I want the side grass to grow, and dirt blocks with grass on them, they actually resist physics. And so this is where a window is going to be. And so once this has grass on it, I'll dig it out, and hopefully these 2 will stay there and float. That's the plan. Sometimes it doesn't always work. I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 here. That way we get grass growing as well. Yeah, it's a fairly simple design. It's a common type of design people use when they're building TerrafirmaCraft. It's kind of like the first house. It's almost the equivalent of building inside of a cave for some people. I mean, you can find these things on the forums. Some of them will get really elaborate and multi-story and like have different layers. Mine is just simple. Eventually, I'm going to clear out that land over there and build a proper home and some farmland near the water here, and maybe some fields like a barn and things over there. So eventually this will just end up being mass storage once we move out. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and I think eat so we can get some of our food back. Don't know how long this has been going. Let me just check that real quick to make sure I'm on time for things. It hasn't been going as long as I thought. That took me like an hour to make. That's just how much slower TerrafirmaCraft is, and I'll be using skips a lot just to keep the boredom down. I think what I need to do is start worrying about tools and things like that. And so to do so, I'm going to need, I already have cobble, so I don't know what I'm doing that for. So since all this tetrahedrite is here, it looks like we're sitting on a nice large vein of it. Basically, I'm going to find about the center point that all these kind of represent, mark it for later. I'm going to gather up all of these. I think it takes about 15 of these tetrahedrites to make one tool. And the first tool we're going to be making is probably a pickaxe and prospecting pick. We need both of those. Oh, there's even more up here. So probably have to take kind of an average between these two positions when we start prospecting this tetrahedrite location. So we have 8 tetrahedrite. Trying to remember if it's 10 or 15. I'll look it up on the wiki before we get started here. A lot of flowers. This game has a lot of aesthetics to it. Keep occasionally picking up rocks. Need to keep that up in supply for later. We are by our beach, so we can actually build a sluice, which you can run water over and pan for elements that way as well, which you might get to do. Maybe, in fact, I'll build a sluicing pan real quick. You take a knife and you can carve into a log, I thought. That's how you used to do it, but apparently not anymore. Well, shit. How do you do that now? I don't know. Is it sticks? No. Anyways, we just got some seaweed too. Those cherries we picked earlier isn't gonna last forever. Food does decay, and we'll hover over this. You can find out if it's fruit, vegetable, yada yada, how much we have, and then the decay is 5.5%. It basically has its own health bar. To cut away decay, you can just take a knife to it, and basically you get a nice full amount of fruit again. You lose a little bit in the process, but it's better than eating decayed food. Decayed food will eventually just turn to dust. More sticks. So let's go ahead. I'm not going to pick up this hematite, the iron, yet. I'm going to keep it there for later. Some more tetrahedrite around here. It used to take me like days in game to find like tetrahedrite and stuff, depending on your spawn and how lucky you are. I think we found a really nice home location, and hopefully we won't take all of its materials too quickly, so we won't have to start running around all the time looking for new basically little mines to dig. Eventually we'll be able to start strip mining and doing things like that, but that's not for a while off. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and try and find like 15 more tetrahedrite. Might take a while. Ooh, wild tomatoes. Eventually we'll have to pick these for food and plant some more at our own farm. Definitely need to plant them before, pick these before winter, because once winter gets here, they will get snowed on and just decay. And we have corn too. That's nice. A lot of corn. Holy shit, corn. Okay. That's a lot of food, which is gonna go the distance, I think. Let's see, anything poking out the sides of the hill? sometimes you can see materials sticking out the sides of these, just like normal Minecraft. They might just get pushed up with the terrain generation. You might get lucky. Or like that one. So that's tetrahedrite. It's very faint. You guys probably can't see it from this distance. I'll get a little bit closer to it. So, yes, this block right here, it's just slightly different colored, and you can see kind of shapes into it. That is tetrahedrite for sure. I'll need to remember this location, and it's getting nighttime. Not really the safest to be walking around. And as you can see, we found tetrahedrite. We're gonna find these on the surface as well near it. Ooh, and I guess hematite. Might be some in this cave down here. I don't really want to go down there. We'll just pick up our tetrahedrite and move on. And I think I'll do a bit of a time skip, and maybe we'll do our first pour of metal and make our first set of tools, and probably end the episode there. So I'll be right back, and hopefully I don't die. Okay everyone, we returned very successful from our journey. I found a couple more spots to mark, and we have 12 small tetrahedrite plus another 16 and 3 native copper. Native copper is pretty much the same thing. It works and does the exact same. So we need to make mold for our tools, since we're going to be working on molten material. This is going to be the pickaxe, and then also we need a prospector's pick, which basically is like a little bit of a radar type thing that will say if we're close or not close to material. Takes a sample of the rock nearby and basically just says, basically it's a game of hot and cold. So we'll go ahead and start up this kiln. Hopefully at the end of it have a nice pair of tools to get started into the next age. Come on, light. Ugh, took a whole thing, man. I need to move this out of the way. Put it on my back. Okay. I didn't want it to burn up. I don't know if it could or not, but I didn't want to take the risk. So this thing can go inside, because really I don't need it outside. I'm not using it to collect water. We're surrounded by it. As you can see, one of our torches have went out. In fact, most of them from the perimeter have gone out. And how you relight them is you actually take a lit torch. You just go over to the unlit one and you right click on it, and you can just relight them. I think it's just to prevent people from laying a whole bunch of torches around without any consequence. You can also turn them off by right clicking on them with an empty hand. Go ahead and relight that one as well. I think that's a really nice feature, just because, I mean, I know a lot of people that would just cheat the system by keeping everything lit. And this just at least makes it, you know, a little bit of an effort to do so. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a time lapse here until this thing is done. We're not a time lapse, time skip. I'm gonna go ahead and work on some additional things. Use our water jug here. You can see how much water it gives back. It gives back a whole bunch. Yeah, not really a whole much to do until we get those. I mean, I can gather some lumber, which is probably what I'm going to mainly be doing. In the meantime, it's going to take about a day in-game's time's worth. And I feel like I'm mumbling a lot. Ugh. This is what happens when you just record and record. Cut down some more hickory. Eventually, the main house is going to be made out of hickory. It's kind of the goal. It's definitely my favorite wood, and I'm glad I found some, because usually I have to go searching for it. Don't like to waste it burning hickory. It does burn very hot, which is very nice, but I use it for a lot of building. Sometimes if trees are really close together, they all break at once. I don't think there's really any way around that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do a skip here. Ooh, more tetrahedrite. I like this stuff. Go ahead and gather it. And then once we get our prospector's pick, I'll show you guys some mining on the next episode. At least early stage mining. And go from there. So be right back and I'll show you how to pour this mold. And make yourself your first set of copper tools. Alright, so the kiln just finished. As you can see, we have some new things. We have a new ceramic bowl. Eventually to do some prospecting with on the surface near water. But more importantly, we have this ceramic vessel full of 310 units of liquid copper. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use it and put our mold in here. And I don't know how many it takes. It looks like about 100 units per mold. So we actually have enough to make one other mold, but I don't have time to fire it. The liquid in here is actually going to harden and become unpourable, and I would have to run it through the kiln anyway. So I might as well just hold off until I have some more things to fire. Anyways, so we have this prop pick mold. We'll just go ahead and break it out. Same with the pickaxe. Put them both on their sticks. And there you go. That is, as you can see, finally time to mine. So what you do is you hold your pop pick and you just kind of right click on the surface. It'll give you a reading. We have a medium sample of tetrahedrite in this location. And then if we go over here, nothing of interest. So basically you're just gonna look traces, and then we go back over here, medium, and then back over here, large, and over here we get nothing of interest. So it's pretty much through this whole area. And next episode we'll be working out how to actually locate it, or at least the fastest way and most consistent way. Sometimes you can get lucky and just find it, but there is a method to actually locating it. There was a lot of rain in between when I left off to now, so it actually put out the kiln, and I had to wait until it stopped to relight it. It also put out our torches, which I think is new. I've never noticed that before, which I think is a nice touch. Everything on the surface that was on fire has been put out. So I'll have to go through and relight those. My journey to find more tetrahedrite, I found these little shrubbery, and these are strawberry bushes that I planted here, and they're just annuals. They come back, I think in the spring, they'll flower and then produce some strawberries for us. Don't have to do anything. There's a bunch of different type of berries that you can find as well. But I think that's what we're going to end on this episode. We'll be doing some mining next episode. If I can speak and get through this whole outro thing, that would be great. Tomorrow, Medieval Engineers as always. And thanks for watching. If you guys are enjoying the series, feel free to subscribe. Have any questions, I can answer them down below. If not, refer you to the wiki about how the mod works and things of that nature. And yeah, thanks for watching.